All right. So, welcome back to the podcast. I am delighted today to have Kim Anderson with me. She is a dynamic relationship and marriage mentor, a speaker, and founder of Divine Perfect Mate. With a career that began in the NBA, serving in public relations for the Atlanta Hawks and community relations with her hometown Detroit Pistons, Kim is a lifelong barrier breaker who brings a unique perspective to the world of relationships. As a wife, mother of four, entrepreneur, ministry leader, and author, she has spent decades empowering women to rise above their circumstances and step confidently into their purpose. And I am very excited to have Kim on the podcast today talking about finding your divine perfect mate, no matter what your age or stage of life, even here in midlife. So, welcome to the podcast, Kim.
Thank you. Hey, Debbie, it's good to be here with you.
I love that you're here today. I love your energy, Kim, and I'm excited to just dive in and you can tell us because I've spoken with you before. Tell
Yes.
us where this whole idea for Divine Perfect Mate came from. And I know it's like we were going back 30 years here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you tell the story. I love your story.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, it's one of those things where Divine Perfect Mate came about. Simply the idea of it came about for me 30 plus years ago when I found myself in quite the quandary. I was in a personal mess, having a serious crisis, trying to figure out like what to do, like how did I get here, right? 30 years ago I found myself being it started with being pregnant and not married, and then becoming a single parent. Like that just was not on my bingo card, like at all, right? Like just like that wasn't my, hey, this is my life aspiration. Right, like that just was not the case. And coming through that and finding myself that person, my self-esteem was just non-existent, right? Like I felt like the biggest loser. The guy that I was pregnant by had really no intentions of marrying me. And hindsight, he was probably right? Like he was probably, it was a mess, right? It was a mess too, but he was probably right to go, yeah, you're probably a little bit too much of a mess. I'm not gonna marry you, right? Like, so I can't
Mm,
fault him. I can't fault him for not marrying me. Because I didn't put that, like I remember this old episode of the Cosby Show, just hang with me, people, where where one of the girls was presenting their boyfriend, and basically they were saying, you just took a garbage can lid, flipped it over and threw some food on it and said, hey, here's my guy. Yeah, that's kind of how I was. Like it was just like the what I was presenting, I wasn't presenting it in any way that might have really been attractive to
mm,
someone to say, wow, this person not only treasures herself, she's someone I should treasure. Like that wasn't what I was doing. So I can't fault him. I can't fault him for not, though in my heart I thought that he should, just sort of like, well, you should marry me because now I'm pregnant. Like it wasn't any like, that's what you got, Kim. That's where, like, that's all you got. So consequently my esteem and how I felt about myself was just rock bottom. And
mm,
so here I have this kid and I'm trying to figure out, like really like what to do. And personally, my parents, my grandparents, even, they weren't the best example. God love them, no disrespect. So just because, they may hear, people are still alive, right? So I'm not disrespecting them. I'm just saying that there weren't necessarily role models in front of me to say, this is how you have a successful relationship. This is how you have a happy marriage and build a stable, prosperous life. Like there wasn't any roadmap for me to follow. My parents got divorced when I was 2, so I never grew up with my father in the home, though I love my dad. I know my dad, but there wasn't this pattern or path to say, this is how you might want to do it, girl. Right. So I found myself like in the complete opposite of stable, emotionally healthy. Like I was the complete opposite. So let's just say, so the train wreck happened. Right. While it was the train, I was living the train wreck. And, I was like, wow, like, what am I going to do? And so if I have a superpower, Debbie, my superpower is probably getting real. Like, don't sugarcoat it. Look in the mirror. The question now is, Kim, what are you going to do? Right? Like, no BS, no fluff. Girl, what are you going to do? Whether he marries you or not, whether something else happens, what are you going to do? And I think that, if anything, that might be my superpower. Like, then it was like this moment of clarity. And that's why I call what we're laying out, I call it divine, because there was, how else can I explain it? There was no path or pattern or roadmap. So how did I get this download if it wasn't divine? There, right? Like it's outside of me. There's nothing in my world that says you're going to be the one that's married for 30 years happily to a great guy. Like there was just nothing there. Right? And so I really want to emphasize, like, there was nothing there. So however I got that download, I'm attributing it to it being a godsend, it being divine, because I don't understand if someone can tell me how I got it other than it being divine, I'm all open for it. But I
Yeah.
I but I
So what was the download, Kim? Like when you talk about that download,
mhm.
what was that you received?
Okay, so one, I got really real, right? Like I just got really real. What are you gonna do? And so I still didn't have the answer to that question, but
Mhm.
at least I was asking myself the question and I was beginning to hold myself accountable. And so I want to say it was sort of it was sort of a series of steps and progressions. Now, when I share it with ladies now, it is an 8-step pathway. But then I didn't know that it was a pathway. I was just sort of following one thing on top of the other. And then when I look back, I realized, oh wow, like literally, like it was just like step 1, step 2, step 3. So when they started coming, one of the first things that I had to do was just get really real and acknowledge where I was. And I'm kind of going to lay in the steps. That's
Yeah.
probably the best way for us to do it, right? So the first thing I had to do was just acknowledge it. Kim, you know what? This sucks. Right? Like, okay. Okay. Where you are, what you've created, what you've allowed, you know what? It sucks. And so the military term is embrace the suck. Like this sucks, right? Like, okay, let's just deal with the fact that it sucked. And so
Mhm.
then one of the other things that was so pivotal, and I know I shared this part with you when we were chatting and getting to know each other, was that I began to recognize how I was living was a direct reflection of my, what's the word I want to use to be nice. I don't want to, like I said, I'm not trying to disrespect how I grew up. Um, but it was a direct reflection of my family. And what I saw in my family, I simply started to reflect it back. And that's what my life had become. No offense, but I grew up in a single parent household. I told you my parents got divorced when I was 2. So I was stunned that I had literally recreated that for my son. And here I was, a single parent. And I was like, oh, wow, like, how did that happen? Um,
Mhm.
and this part is just so monumental. If you can start to recognize like your family patterns that may not serve you anymore, ooh, that is so huge. It's so huge because when I started to recognize the patterns, I mean, I was probably nauseous. I'm going, well, this is my life has become this, but it's not even my life. I'm simply repeating a pattern. Okay, so then the question became, how do I break the pattern? Like, how do I break the pattern? Because I simply was repeating. I don't know, was it a thought process? Was it an emotional level? Like whatever I was doing, I was simply repeating what I had seen modeled in front of me, because we don't know what we don't know. Right? Like if this is the
Mhm.
environment, then that's what we think is normal. So then that's what we should replicate. Like we don't, and it's almost embarrassing, right? To recognize that kind of programming. Like I'm just, like what? And here's what's even crazier, right? So I'll just take it a step further so that I can drive this point home. So when I say I didn't grow up with my father, though I knew who my father was, right? Like I mean, he wasn't a stranger to me, but I didn't grow up with him. But he wasn't emotionally present. I would see him like on Christmas and my sometimes my birthday, not always my birthday, like, but so he was always in and out, right? So why did I even choose a guy who was just like my father? Like, I want to pull my hair out. Like, okay. Okay. So like all of that kind of revelation was just hitting me like, like a boxer. It was just, I was like, wow, I'm taking body blows here with this, seeing these patterns. Okay. Okay. So we got really real. We start recognizing the patterns. Then the question becomes, okay, how do I break how do I break
Yeah.
out of this programming? Like, what do I do? How do I break out of this programming? So I mean, and all while I'm reading books. I'm back then we had like cassette series and all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm listening to things. I'm doing my best to start to reprogram myself. But and I started to understand that what was happening, I was sort of building myself up on purpose. I was in the mirror. I was saying the affirmations, and I was course correcting and saying, hey, that thought didn't serve you. Well, maybe let's come up with another one. And what is it that you want? And what kind of life would you like? I was going through all the motions, doing all the things the best I could. um and coming to a point where I was recognizing that one of the main things I personally was dealing with, now everybody's story may be a little bit different, but some folks might relate to this, is that I was sort of dealing with rejection. And
Mm.
like sort of once you start pulling it all out, like, well, like, so what's at the root of this for you? And so I think, and like I said, I love my family. That's not, but I think I was dealing with sort of a seed or root of rejection, because my dad was in and out. And and I thought, child of divorce, I thought, oh no, I don't think that it had anything to do with me. Like I thought that's what I was doing, but in reality I was having that rejection, because what's so wrong with me that my dad couldn't stay married to my mom, and he was in and out. Like, what was so wrong? Like, how come he didn't remember my birthday? Like, am I not? And can I just tell you another little thing that was even more ridiculous about this?
Sure.
So when I talk about rejection, maybe my dad forgot my birthday. No way. His second wife, her birthday was the same day as mine. Like, you,
Yeah.
like you can't say, like, I can't justify and say, oh well, maybe he forgot my birthday.
Mhm.
Impossible for him to forget your birthday. His wife's birthday is the same day. Guess what? Deal with it, Kim. It sucks, right? Like, it's like, just don't try to sugarcoat it for yourself. Don't deceive yourself about it. So, like, you have to, Kim, you have to reject rejection. Like, you can't, whatever he's doing, That's what he's deciding to do. But does it really have a place and value as far as your self-worth? Like, you have to develop, and when I say you, I mean me, you have to develop your own self-worth regardless of what your father does. If he doesn't call you on your birthday, if he doesn't come over, if he doesn't bring you gifts, whatever, because there were years
Hmm.
that he didn't, but I know in my heart he can't forget because his wife's birthday is the same day. Like, like, you can't act like, if I know your wife's birthday is the same day as mine, you can't act like my father, forgot my birthday. Like, just, it's impossible, right? Okay,
Yes.
so can you just feel that,
Oh, yeah.
just how devastating as a kid growing up that had to be for me? Because there's no way around it. Like, there's no wiggle room. There's no excuse I can really give him to say
Hmm.
that's why he forgot my birthday this year. Right?
Yeah.
Like, this, he just chose. He made a decision. He chose not to be there. He chose not to be a participant on my birthday. Like, that is what it is.
Yeah.
That is what it is. So, and this is all part of me accepting me and dealing with that spirit emotion of rejection that was really at the core of, well, my, I wish my screen would just chill. I don't know why it does this, but but that was one of the key things that I just had to deal with and work through. That whatever he did, that's what he did. That was his decision. Now I'm an adult. How am I going to um sort of mentor myself, be okay? I'm still okay. That's what he decided. And that took some emotional work. That took some just sitting with it, crying through it. And but when I got to the other side of it, what was interesting was that, like, my dreams changed. I would have dreams where I was beating people up, like, that I was like Victoria, I was the victor, and I was like, something must really be happening. Like, I am literally overcoming that point and that thought and spirit of rejection. And so that began to just really turn things for me. Now here's the next step, which was super key. Once I really came to that realization, right, with the rejection and how
Hmm.
that was working, I had to forgive him.
Mm.
I had to forgive him. Like, yeah, it
Yeah.
it
Yeah. They say forgiveness is for us, right? It's not for them. It's not to condone what they did, but it's forgiveness for you so you can move on, right?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so forgiveness was such a huge part. Once everything's huge, right? But it was such a key next step, right? Because that was when I was really able to step forward and break free. So we had all that processing to that point, and then it was forgive him, forgive my dad, forgive my mom, forgive the guy that I got pregnant by. Like, just it. I mean, you know, like, it took two to
Hmm.
tango. It took right. It took two to tango. Like, it wasn't like this happened in a vacuum, and we didn't know the possibilities. Like, forgive him.
Yep.
And then it got down to it, and I had to forgive myself. I I,
Mm.
I didn't know better, and you know, so that one, I didn't at first think I needed to do that, because forgiveness is like a process. Like, you have to be willing to forgive. Like, you kind of gotta, okay. I don't know how to forgive, but I'm willing to learn how to forgive. Like, it's like, okay, the thought, okay, I didn't think I wanted to forgive, but now I think I'm willing to even think about forgive. Like, it was just like a step-by-step process in forgiveness in
Yeah.
and of itself.
And it's interesting that you just knew that this was the next step. Like nobody told you to do this, right? These are steps that just came to you. Like the next step logically was to forgive
Right.
so you can move forward.
Well, and I don't even know how it came. Like, I might have read something in a book. Like, you know how you
Hmm.
can just sometimes you can go on social media and you'll see something and it's like, bam, that's the answer I was looking for. I don't know how like forgiveness became a thing, like, because before it became the topic, I don't think I was talking or thinking about forgiveness, but that, once again, why I say it was so divine, because I'm going step by step, I'm taking myself through a process. Yeah, I want to be married. Yeah, I want to have a stable home for my son. But I'm I'm in a process. So I'm not even sure at that point if I was like in the process with the purpose of being married, or I was just in the process of going through these because I knew I had to figure out what to do. Like Kim,
Mhm.
what are you going to do? And so these were just the things that were coming to move me forward. Right. So at this point, I don't even
Yes.
know that I'm trying to get married. I'm just trying to move me forward. So
Yes.
so when
The
for
end goal was not marriage
not at, I don't
necessarily.
really think so at that point.
Yeah.
I just
Yes.
wanted to clean the mess. Right. I just wanted to get past the patterns. And I don't think, like, at that point when I was at forgiveness, if I was saying, yeah, I'm doing all this because I want to get married. I don't think I was. I just knew I didn't want to be in a mess anymore. So
Mm.
so these were the steps that were coming to me. So when I got to forgiveness, I spent some time there. Like I want to say I spent maybe at least 8 9 months in those first
Mhm.
kind of 4 steps. Like, I wasn't rushing it. And I knew when I got there, I had to really kind of just dig deep, snot, cry, laugh, do whatever, do what you got to do, get through forgiveness, letting it go. And on the other side of forgiveness, now it's like the slate is clean. The slate's clean. I'm not held back by those thoughts and patterns that don't serve me anymore. I'm brand new. I'm a newborn. Like, everything's open. Now here's where it starts to get fun, because I'm an open book at this point. So the next part was, now go ahead and let's start to create what it is that you want.
Mhm.
Huh. Okay. So I call this the dream step, the dreamscape step, because once you get past all of that, you're still standing. As a matter of fact, you're stronger than you've ever been. Right? Like,
Yeah.
you did the work. Once you're on the other side of forgiveness, you did the work. So you're like, okay. I'm like, okay, okay. I feel powerful. I told you my dreams were like, girl, I was like lifting weights in my dreams. Like, I'm like, ooh, I'm strong. I said, okay, okay, here we are. It's a new day. It's a new day. Now I still got a kid, right? like, but
Mhm.
I'm better.
Yes.
I'm so much better. So, okay. So I started this, once again, how do I know this? I don't know. So I started this list. I started writing down the things that I would want in a mate. Because
Mhm.
now I'm open. I'm not held back by who I had before and all of that, and who had me. Just being honest. So so I was like, okay, so I started making a list. Now, here's what's interesting, and this is, if you and your audience is listening, here's what's important about making the list. When you make the list, it's not about what he has. It's more important to focus on who he is.
Mm. Mm.
So, qualities and characteristics, not possessions. Can I just let that sit for just a second? Like,
Mhm.
so I've heard there's a term going around that girls these days want a high quality man. Want a high quality man. Oh, I want him to be 6'2" and make 250,000 and la la la. All the things. And so every time I hear something like that, I laugh because I'm going, are you a high quality woman?
Mm.
Are you physically fit? Are you making your own six figures? Like, what do you think you bring to the table? This is just some tough love, really quick. What do you think you bring to the table that a high quality man would be attracted to?
Uh-huh.
I just want to, well, here's how. Because see, now if you want to, and I'm not saying you can't have a high quality man, but I'm saying if you're putting your emphasis on the wrong thing, then you're having mismatched expectations. Because
Mm.
here's what I learned: you can always get stuff. You can always get a bigger house. You can always get another car, like whatever. You can always do that. But if he isn't matching you with integrity, and then what you got at the end of the day, like, like if so my encouragement is that when you come up with your list, that it's qualities and characteristics. Who he is, I promise you, after being married more than 30 years now, who he is
Mhm.
so much more important than what he has when you meet him. Now, I
Yes.
hope he has, I hope he has it all. But do you have it all? Like, like
Yeah.
here's here's a here's another here's a pro tip. Like attracts like. Like attracts like. Now, I know people have heard opposites attract, but let me tell you where the opposite attracting is. Two extroverts are not going to get together. And one's going to be an introvert and one's going to be an extrovert. That's where the opposites attract. But who they are, values, what's important, their personal strengths, those things must match. They must. Like attracts like. Where opposites come
Hmm.
in is that one's an extrovert, one's an introvert. One likes to talk, one
Okay.
one likes to listen. Like, like though that's the oppositeness, not values.
Mm. Mm. That's a really good distinction. That's a really good thing to remember.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean you're supposed to like the bad boy.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean you're supposed to like the dude that's drunk all the time. That's not what that means. Like, no. Can I just put that? No. It doesn't mean you're supposed to like the bad boy or the guy that's not good for you. That does You're the good girl and he's a deadbeat. No. No, that's not what that means. Can we crush that sacred cow? Can we just knock it over?
Yes.
It's more important who he is
Hmm.
than what he has, because we can always get stuff.
Yeah. And we can always lose stuff, but the person you are, that's who you are,
That's
right?
who you are, right? Because I can tell you, we've lost stuff over 30 years. We have lost some stuff. We've lost some jobs. We've lost some cars. Like, we've lost some stuff over the years. But if my husband wasn't a man of integrity, then we wouldn't have made it, right? Like, that
Mhm.
wasn't the time to pull apart and start arguing about what you lost, who did it, what happened. No, at that point, because he's such a rock solid individual, that was the time we pulled together. Okay, let's come up with a plan. What are we going to do? What do we think? Like, how does this look? And, are we going to have to catch the bus? Like, whatever. How can we come together and move forward, so that you're not having, I mean, life is challenging enough, but you don't want to be pulling apart when things get tough. But if you don't have that understanding of who he is because of who you are,
Mhm.
right? Like tough times don't last, but tough people do. Well, obviously, I'm tough. I'm tough because I went through some stuff. I acknowledged that I had a spirit of rejection. I dealt with all the messiness that came with that. So I'm now resilient. Like you can't just knock me over because you call me a bad name.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
tough. So my husband's internally tough and mentally strong too. Like is going to attract like.
Okay.
Can
Okay.
have
So
I
you
drilled
create
that one?
your list of qualities and characteristics,
Uh-huh.
not
Uh-huh.
what they have.
But but who when by the time we're done, everybody's gonna be like, okay, okay, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I got that part. I got it. I got it. Okay. So I was wanting to drill that one because it's just
Mm.
so often that folks, you know, but he has this and he has that. Now, and I'll give you an example as we move on. So we've created our list. All right. Our next step, and through that process, we then incorporate the list into our life.
Mm.
Make sure that we're the things that we're saying we want in terms
Mm.
of those characteristics. Now you can have other stuff on there. I know when I did mine, some of the things I wanted to make sure that my husband was cultured. So what did that look like for me? So that meant I went to museums by myself. I almost want to say like I dated myself to figure out what I like.
Mm.
So,
I love that concept. I think that's so important. If we find ourselves single, or even if we don't, I think it's really important to find out what you like by trying things like that, taking
Mhm.
yourself out on a date. What would I want to do? Yeah,
What would
I
I
love
want to
that
do?
idea.
What would
Yeah.
I want to do? So I used to love to go to museums, art museums, and just browse around and look at art and look at beautiful things and just appreciate being in that atmosphere. I would go to symphonies. I went to an opera, and I can honestly say, like, it wasn't for me. Like, but I like to go to the theater. Like I like to go to plays, Broadway plays and that kind of things when they would come to town. I would go. I didn't have to ask permission. I just would go. I
Hmm.
wanted to be in that kind of creative atmosphere. And so and how that manifested, my husband was is a is I want to say, when he was younger, he was a musician. Um, he grew up in DC and he was like in the youth symphony, something or another, like whatever. But he just but the arts were very important in his household. My mother-in-law is a concert pianist. So, like so that was very much a part of his world. He played saxophone and so it, so things began to match. I didn't necessarily, how it's presented to you was sort of the serendipity. Just,
Hmm.
you know, he still to this day is very, very musically oriented. Like just, um, but that was I just wanted someone that was a little bit more cultured. So I became a little bit more cultured. Okay.
Yes.
So where are we? So now here's one of my favorite parts. So I'm moving along. I haven't met him yet, but I'm moving along. And so at this point, I am starting to date. Starting to, because Debbie, listen, you can't go through all of that without people starting to go, what are you doing? like,
Yeah.
like you look a little different. Like, are you dating? Do you have you got a boyfriend? Like, you can't do
Yeah.
all that work and not have it be reflected, and people start to ask you like, what's going on? Something's different. Did you cut your hair? Did you lose weight? Did you buy some new clothes? Like, and those answers will probably be yes. Like, yes, I did. I'm looking cute. I'm feeling good. And then you're gonna start to attract more attention. Like, it's inevitable. Like, you can't be feeling that good about who you are, right? It's almost like you're sending out a light signal, and
Hmm.
guys are like, hey, my goodness, wait, where has she been? Or people that you knew, like, you would be surprised how people and how men start coming out of the woodworks once you really get your vibe. and you know how good you are. So you're going to start to get additional attention. Like, I promise you can't help it. You cannot help it. So I kind
Yeah.
of look at that step as you're fine tuning. You kind of got your list, you know, you're going over your list, you're looking at what's coming to you, right? Like, you're looking at, like, oh, this is better. This is better than what I did before. Okay, I see improvement. And I don't want you to get super excited, you know, about the attention, because you deserve the attention, right? Like, of course, men should be looking at you in a special way now, because you're special. You are special. Yes. So when
Yes,
that,
you
so
recognize finally that you're special and you are deserving of that. So, yeah, I love that.
absolutely. Now, what's cute about this part is when you're getting really close to your guy, is that I call it the man that looks great on paper. Now, now, for me, it actually showed up with a Porsche, and it showed up 6'3". Like, like, okay, like, all the things came with the guy that looked really good on paper. And I
Mm.
and because and I think I kept him around because he did look so good on paper. I was like, how can I explain to someone that I'm actually throwing this guy back? Like,
Mm.
if this guy isn't the one, then I mean, I don't even know what I'm doing. If this isn't the what, is there a one? Because if this guy isn't the one, wow, I don't know how to explain it, right? But there were red flags. There were flags, and um, like I said, this is the one that looks good on paper, and this is the test of your integrity, because at that point there was so many, like, shiny objects around this particular person, that I wasn't paying attention to my list, because I was like, did you see him pick me up in a Porsche? Like, did everybody check that out? Okay. Did everybody see him throw down that American Express card and take me shopping? Like, did everybody see that? Like, I was like, this, okay. Like, and so I
Yes.
got blinded by the shiny object, and I was like, wow, this isn't the guy, right? Like, if this isn't the guy, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do if this isn't the one.
Mm.
But he wasn't the one. If I went back to my list, that's why it's so important to write down who he is, not what he has, because there will be a test. Like, there will be a test. Are you going to give in to, like, some of what you see, or are you going to stand fast and have some faith in what you asked for?
Mm. Mm.
And
Yeah.
I once again, I can almost guarantee you that that's going to be the toughest part, because he's going to look so good on paper. Like, how am I going to explain to my mother that I'm dumping the guy that has, a couple of cars and couple properties? This dude was even, Debbie, this dude was even about to open a car dealership. Do you understand? Like, how am I going to explain to my mother that he's not the one? How? How?
Yeah.
And they're all looking at you like, what do you,
Yeah.
so then I go back to the list. Is okay, is he what I asked for? And it's like, no, who he is not who I asked for. Now, the bells and whistles, they were nice, but that's not who I asked for. So it took all the courage I could muster to give him back.
Mm. Mm.
With And I know my family thought I was crazy. Like, I know they thought,
Yeah.
like, you are
Yeah.
nuts. Because
Because all
you
they could see was the shiny objects. They couldn't see what you were. They couldn't feel what you were feeling, and they didn't have your list, right? They hadn't given the thought to it like you had.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
so I had to literally insist that, and I think I got to a point where I was like, I'm giving this dude back. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Like, like I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. And I was driving down the street and I remember saying to myself, you know what? I believe that there's someone out there who will love me for me. Like,
Hmm.
period, the end. And I mean, if I don't find him, okay, but that has to be the level. Like, I
Yeah,
he's gonna have to love me for me. And I
that's it. Because you love you for you. And I think that is important, right? You worked up to actually loving yourself before you ever went out and looked for something from, look for someone else. So I think that's really important.
yeah. And it wasn't, I want to say it was maybe 2 weeks later that I met my husband.
Wow.
And I want to say that it was so fun and so easy. Like, like it was just like we had a blast with each other immediately. And we met in June of that particular year, and we were engaged by August
Wow.
and married the next year. And we have been together, like, June of this year was 30 years. Like, it just, and even now we're still like so chill. Like, there's no, like, I know this is people going, I'm not saying we agree on every single thing because that's impossible. But the respect, the fun, because we still belly laugh like all the time. Like, we just, you know, and I remember, like, I want to say a few months ago, I was like, are we still like 20? Like it doesn't feel like we've been married 30 years. Like, there's not that heaviness around our relationship. There's never been a heaviness around our relationship. Um, and the depth of that magic that we had in those 6 weeks has lasted us 30 years. Like,
Wow.
like we blasted off so high and so deep and so just being in sync from like the very, very beginning
Hmm.
that it's always Kim and Ken. Like, people will meet and it's always Kim and Ken. If Kim's there, Ken's there. If Ken's there, Kim's there. Like, it's just, we are just like that. And I'll give you one more serendipity about meeting him is that my husband was also like a stepchild. His mother had him, married his father. I mean, like back in the 60s, like that, like 70s,
Hmm.
that wasn't her, that wasn't something that happened, right? Like in the 70s. But he grew up in a household where his father wasn't his biological father. His father adopted him, all that, all good. But so my husband had a unique understanding, and this wasn't something I asked for on my list, but it was just a serendipity that he had an understanding of what it was like to be my son. And
Yes.
so they instantly had a rapport, like just instant, because he wasn't just marrying me, right? He had to incorporate my son into his life, and he did it readily without any reservation. He did it because he understood what that child was going to have to go through in order to become the person that he needed to be. So that was just a serendipity of when you sort of just let it come, when you don't try to force it and you let it come, then you get all these little extra things that you didn't ask for that are just the added bonuses on top of what you did ask for. So it becomes this marvelous, magical moment when wow, I went through the process and I was rewarded by more than I could have asked for. I got what I asked for, but then I got so much more on top of it that It's divine.
It's divine.
It's divine.
And yeah. So that's what I want to take a little bit of time because we only have not that long left, but I really want you to tell us. So these steps that you just described for us that you went through that kind of came through you,
Hmm.
um, you sort of put them into an 8-step kind of program. You call it
Hmm.
Divine Perfect Mate, and you help
Hmm.
women find their divine perfect mate using exactly what you've done in your life and that's
Yeah.
been so successful to you.
Yes.
So how can like women find that program? Where are you delivering it?
Hmm.
And yeah,
Hmm.
and tell us all about it.
So I'm super excited about this part. So I kept it really simple. If you go to divineperfectmate.com, please go there and download the free PDF that we put up there, which outlines the steps that we just sort of went through. And so that you can have your own pathway to your divine perfect mate. I go through the steps in there. There's also, you'll find a video companion series that goes with that PDF. So all of that is there for you. And when you do that, you will be entered into the community that we're building. So we'll be able to talk, connect, discover what it is that you may want from Divine Perfect Mate, whether we do group coaching or whether we do one-on-one. Um, those things we can discuss. And it's pretty cool because, like I said, we've created an additional community sort of outside social media that when you go there, we'll be able to interact. So I'm really, really excited that we were able to sort of launch that. And down the road, that community will probably become a membership. But right now, right now it's open. And please tell me that like Debbie sent you. Okay. Like please tell me that Debbie sent you. But right now it's sort of ours. It's our precious community that where we can talk and share, um, and really sort of get to know each other. Because here's the thing, I know we went through this and you got it. Some of you got it locked in, but the magic is going to come when you sort of have that mentor that can compress time for you as it happens. It took me a good 18 months to sort of go through that process. So what if with working together it took you a year, it took you 9 months? Like if we could compress the time, you still got to do the work, right? Not We're not
Yeah.
hiding from the work. We still got to do the work, but working together, I can help move you through it. Whereas I had to just sort of fight through it and figure it out and bump my head and go to the next one. But being able to sort of recognize where you are will help you move through that process really quickly. Because see, I want you to have the magic. I want you to experience what that's like, to feel like a rocket ship taking off and you're like, whoa, you mean I can have what I want? You mean I can have the love I want? And I'm like, yeah. And not only that, you deserve to have that love.
Mm, mm. I love that because I'm sure that women who go through that just like you end up with loving themselves so much more. Like to me, that's the most powerful part of what you were
Mhm,
talking about because I
mhm,
think that's where women fall short sometimes in their own lives is they're looking for somebody to love them, but they
mhm.
don't love themselves. And I love that that's the key part in this program is that you have to get to that point where you love yourself, where you really respect yourself so much that you're not going to settle for anything less than what you really want, you
Yeah,
know? I
yeah,
think that's so important. And that talks to so many women that I meet who don't feel that within themselves. So to get to that point before you go out there and before you put yourself out on Tinder or something,
right,
just to get to the point where you actually feel so good within yourself that you're like, I'm good. I can put myself out anywhere and I know I'm going to attract somebody I want.
right,
And
right.
so that is so powerful.
right, you can walk into the room and know that because you're the best, only the best then is going to be attracted to you, because when you stop with all the drama and all the incompleteness that we can sometimes feel as women, if we walked into a room with an expectation, then remember, like attracts like. So until you sort of get that part straight, if you walk into a room feeling incomplete and unworthy, I promise you, the man that comes up and talks to you is the same man that feels incomplete and unworthy. Like, like it is it law? It might be a law, but it's
It
that's
is
what
a law. It's a law of attraction. Law of attraction. It's
like
exactly what it is.
that's what's going to come. Like, that's the guy that's going to feel the courage to speak to you. But if you know that you're beautiful, that you're wonderful, we used to call it deserve level. Like, once you know, like, the water within you has risen, your deserve level is higher, then only someone who's got that match is going to have the courage to speak to you. And so
Mm,
you don't even have to worry about the riffraff at that point, because you've stepped into so much power and so much authority and so much love that only someone that has done that same kind of personal understanding is even going to have the courage to say hello. So
yes.
you've eliminated so much that now the cream always rises to the top. Like, so now only the cream of the crop is going to come speak to you in the rooms that you enter. It's like the coolest thing. It's once you start to realize just how special and wonderful you are, that's what that person is going to be attracted to. It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
simple, but it just takes us sort of peeling the onion back to just sort of get down to it. Like, you know what? I'm pretty good stuff.
Yeah. I
I'm
know.
pretty
I love
good.
it.
I'm
I
pretty
love it.
good.
So before we wrap up, there's a question I always ask my guests, which is
Mhm.
what is the best part of getting older for you, Kim, so far?
Wisdom. Wisdom. I count it all joy. I count it all good, because we wouldn't be here right now in this moment sharing, getting to know each other, had it not been for the things that we've overcome so far. So I just got into a place of gratitude about all of it. Just all of it. All the things that seemed bad and not working for me. Nope, they were working for me, because here we are at this moment, taking this idea, moving it forward. Um, so wisdom, it's all good. Everything that
Mm,
happened, it might not have felt good, but it was good. So I just try to look at everything now like things, it's working for me. I may not see how it
yes.
is yet, but it's working for me. And I kind of just rest in that knowing now. And so it's just, I think that's the best. It's just,
Yeah.
it's such a piece, a life piece now. I know that I can personally make a difference for people. Like, I don't doubt that anymore. 10 years ago, I still might have doubted it. Like, I know I can, I know I have, but to try to take something and, I'm sending this out to the masses now. Um, but the seasoning of this life, it's good. It's all good.
It is. It is. And I love that sentiment, which is everything happens for us and not
Mhm.
to us, right? If
Mhm.
we can
Mhm.
take the lesson in everything we're given or we build the strength because of what we're given, I
Yes,
think that is where our power is going to be found, right? That is how
for
we find
sure.
ourselves.
Yes,
Yeah, that's so
yes,
good. So I
yes.
love this. I love everything you share, Kim. I love your energy, like I said at the beginning. And I just hope that, anybody in the audience who wants to connect with Kim, what is that address again? Just one more time, Kim, and I'm going to put it in the
Sure.
show notes too.
Yes.
Where can they find you?
Divineperfectmate.com.
divineperfectmate.com. And that's where you can download the free PDF. And then
Hmm.
there's a video series, as you mentioned, that goes
Yes,
along with it.
yes, ma'am.
And you
Yes,
can get
ma'am.
into Kim's community as well. So that's fantastic. Thank you.
Indeed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kim. I know this is going to be valuable. There's a lot of single ladies, divorced ladies,
Yeah,
even women who just need to hear that even to get to the forgiveness point. I think so many of these steps are applicable even if you don't want to end up with a mate necessarily, but just
exactly.
to discover yourself. So I really, really appreciate that you shared that with us today. Thank you.
Oh, it's been my pleasure and my honor. So guys, when you do go to divineperfectmate.com, please tell me that Debbie sent you. Please, I
Tell
want
them
to
I
know.
sent you. Perfect. Thanks, Kim.
My
Uh,
pleasure. I'm sending hugs. I'm sending hugs.
Me too. Thank you.